Now that I've owned this old truck camper for a month, it's become clear that I've made a few mistakes. Why did I buy this camper? I've had a few struggles since the last video and now question whether buying this old guy was a good decision altogether. Unbelievable.
Spoiled little boy.
Took my seat.
He loves the beach.
I like the beach too. It's been a pretty nice couple of days hanging out with my sister and nephew. We went to the beach yesterday. It was an absolutely beautiful day. I got to surf for a couple hours, and now we are on this amazing hike in New Hampshire. It is pretty much peak fall foliage right now, and it's absolutely incredible. I feel like I've done this before. I've had these situations in the past where I've made like a big purchase or a big decision, maybe with the high ace, for example, or with the tiny house. And then as I've started to get into it, a couple of problems have come up and I've started to maybe doubt myself a little bit and wonder if I made the right decision. In the end, I do usually persevere through those problems and try to find solutions and stay positive. And most of the time it's worked out. I've been able to overcome those issues and things have been okay. And, this past week I've had a couple of those problems with this camper. I think the first issue that I've had, you might notice on the roof of the camper, the solar panels that I put on in the last video are no longer there. And that is because I took them off and sent them back to Renogy. That was 275 watts of solar panels on the roof that I had installed in series running into the solar power station, and I was barely getting 60 or 70 watts maximum from them combined. And to me, that's just not enough. One of them was definitely defective. It was not putting out the rated power. I was always thinking that I would get a little bit less than 275, obviously. Like, I figured they might put out maybe 200 watts if I was lucky, even 180. I would have been okay with that. But to only be able to get 60 or 70 watts from all of that solar that I spent all that money on didn't make a lot of sense. It's basically useless. That wouldn't even keep me going on a day-to-day basis. I would still need to plug in to recharge anyway. So I took them off and they are on their way back to Renogy, and that is the first mistake that I have made since getting this camper. I trusted those flexible panels, guys, and they are just not high-quality products. I've had so many problems with them, and I don't think I'll make that mistake again. I know that there is one company that produces some nicer ones. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're very expensive, and I'm probably going to have to figure out another solution. Speaking of avoiding future potential mistakes, I did recently start using NordVPN now that I'm back on the road. In fact, I was using it this morning while I was at a coffee shop. I find myself using public Wi-Fi a lot more frequently these days, and I figure I will continue to do so while I'm traveling around, and it's nice to have that added peace of mind to know that a VPN is protecting and encrypting my information. There's a lot of benefits to NordVPN in addition to just the cybersecurity side of things. It's really nice that it can spoof your GPS location, and that allows you to connect to various servers all around the world, and then you can log on to things like Netflix and maybe find shows that are not available in your home country. It's also nice because it protects you against any sort of location-based price discrimination. Say you're searching for an airline ticket or something like that, it'll definitely help to protect that information, keep that information private so that companies cannot use it against you. There are a ton of great benefits to using a VPN. I know some of you guys who've been following for a long time know that I'm a huge fan of them, and NordVPN has been awesome so far. If you go to nordvpn.com/elementlife, you can get a 2-year plan with an exclusive deal plus 4 bonus months for free. It's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. And like I said, it's been awesome so far. I've really enjoyed using this VPN. Huge thank you to Nord for collaborating with me on this video. Alright, so the next mistake, I guess, kind of happened when I bought the camper a month ago. I just didn't realize it at the time. And I'm just going to cut back to a couple of days ago so you guys can see what I was dealing with. This is the first time that I've experienced, like, real rain since buying this camper. You'll have to excuse the sound of the space heater behind me. I'm trying to dry out the cushions. Last night, I got in here to go to bed, and I noticed that there was a bunch of water dripping on this part of the cushion behind me, and there was a couple of other spots as well. I traced it to this side of the canvas. For some reason, only this side, though, but it is taking on a ton of water. The top was down. I haven't put the top up like this in quite a few days, so I had it down, and somehow it was just either wicking onto it and then just absorbing a bunch of water, or it's coming in from somewhere on the roof. I don't really know, but it's pretty wet at this point. It's kind of soaking wet. It's not like pouring in, but it's definitely enough to be annoying. Yeah, so that really wasn't a lot of fun. When I bought the camper a month ago, I definitely asked the previous owner, like, if there were any water issues or anything like that. That was my top concern, and he did say that there weren't. That being said, it doesn't rain that much in New Mexico, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a nice guy, and I don't think that that he was lying to me necessarily, but it is something that has come up, and that amount of rain, that doesn't really happen in New Mexico. Like, it was raining a lot. It is going to rain again tonight, so I will definitely be keeping a close eye on it, and I'll keep you guys posted. I do know that I don't necessarily want to be living in a camper that has water getting in. Maybe if you're camping in here for, a couple of times a year, like the previous owner was doing, that's a totally fine thing to deal with, but when this is your full-time home, it's a different story. The next issue has to do with the pop top. I know a lot of folks in the last video, they commented, they asked, why are you not popping the top? You're just camping in your sister's driveway visiting for a little bit. Why would you not put it up to make the space more comfortable? And that's a good question. The answer is because it is extremely difficult to pop this top on my own. And it's gotten more difficult since I've owned the camper over the past month. For some reason, the roof is maybe a little bit heavier. I don't know if it's just that we've been getting a lot of rain and it's got a little bit of water. I don't know what it is, but it's very, very difficult to put this top up. I mean, it always has been, but now it's even harder, and it's not really something that I'm enjoying too much. I would love to be able to just easily press a button and have the top go up and come back down. Most modern pop-up campers have that feature built in, but this one is pretty difficult, and then actually getting it down is also difficult. It's really hard to bring it down and get it so that it's lined up properly. I have to be like tugging on it and redoing it a couple of times. And then playing off of the issue with the pop-top mechanism is just the fact that this is an older camper and it is showing its age. On the exterior, there are a lot of projects, a lot of things that I'm going to need to work on and spend a ton of time on to get this to where I want it to be. I would like to repaint it. I would like to reseal a couple of the pieces of fiberglass are like delaminating in a couple of spots. I would really like to take care of that. Obviously, you know, going over the whole thing in caulk and sealant, and then, like I said, painting it. Maybe replacing the roof at some point, maybe replacing that canvas. These are all things that I would really like to do to the camper. You know, I knew that this was going to need some TLC when I bought it. It's an older camper. It's a great project camper. But the other issue is that I'm on the road now, and I want to be traveling full time, and I don't really necessarily want to be worrying about doing tons of projects on this thing. So it's actually raining a little bit less hard than it was the other night. It's not really coming down that bad, but the leak seems to be quite a bit worse than it was the other day. I don't know if it's the way that I parked the camper. I moved it to this angle, so I'm thinking maybe the water's just running right to where the problem is. It is noticeably worse. I mean, the water is like pooling up inside the canvas. You can actually see it from the outside, and it's just steadily dripping onto the counter in this corner. Doesn't really seem to be going anywhere else as of right now, so I guess that's a good thing. Maybe a little bit right here above the bed, but guys, this is a very discouraging problem to be having. Not enjoying it. It is super late though. It's like almost 1 a.m. I've been up editing most of the night here, and I'm exhausted. I want to get some rest. I think I'm just going to stick this towel on the counter, hope for the best, and continue dealing with this in the morning. That was surprisingly easy, putting the top up this morning. I have not figured out the method to the madness there. Maybe there's like a trick or something, or I don't know, maybe it's just moody. Some days it's terrible, and some days it's really easy to do. That being said, this morning, I guess I'm starting to figure out how the water's coming in, at least a little bit. What's happening is that when the top is down, the canvas is all the way folded in, and it makes like this shape, right? It almost makes like this little bowl, and then the water's getting in between the two sides and filling it up. It's like you can almost see it from the inside of the camper, like I said last night, and a ton of water is getting in there, and then the water slowly drips through the canvas. There's kind of a lot in that towel that I put down. It's basically completely soaked this morning, so it's really not great, but I don't know how it's getting into that little inside area of the canvas. I don't know if maybe there's a couple of cracks in the sealant up at the top between that little flashing overhang piece and the roof itself, or if it's getting in from somewhere else. It's definitely going to take me some time to figure this out. Lots of trial and error. I think next time it rains like this, my best bet is going to be to just pop the top. That way the water cannot pool up inside the canvas, and at least it probably won't get into the camper anymore. I've always been conditioned when I had my NV200 to not pop the top in the rain because I was afraid of the canvas getting wet. But the canvas is getting wet even when the top is down, so at this point I might as well just keep it up like this permanently. There really is a lot of space in this camper when the top is popped like this. Like, it is by far the biggest camper that I have owned, and the previous owner did a pretty good job with fixing up the interior. Like I said in the last video, definitely made things lighter weight, added nice 12-volt power system, more creature comforts. Definitely a pretty solid setup. The exterior is going to need a ton of work, and I think at this point it's more TLC than I had initially expected, which is freaking me out a little bit because, this is my home now. I am on the road in this thing full time. Everything I own is with me right now, and my intention is to be on the road for the foreseeable future. So, having to deal with potentially like renovating the whole exterior of this camper, it's not really something that I want to do right now. And on top of that, it's going to take away from my ability to travel and to make the the videos that I want to make and go explore and find new places and stuff. So I'm not really super excited about that, but I have a couple of different options that I could pursue with this, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do just yet, but like I said, I'll let you guys know, hopefully in the next video, in the next couple of videos. I can't thank you all enough for watching and for following along on this journey. I'll talk to you all in the next one.